She smiled at me during dinner, and for a second I thought maybe things weren't as broken as I had imagined. You know that kind of smile, soft, effortless, almost nostalgic. The kind that makes you remember why you fell for someone in the first place. I remember my chest warming, my shoulders relaxing, my fork halfway to my mouth. I thought she was smiling at me, until her gaze drifted just slightly to the right, and I saw her hand disappear beneath the tablecloth. That was the exact moment my entire world cracked. She wasn't reaching for me, she was reaching for him. I can still feel the tremor that went through my hand as I set my fork down, the weight of the metal clinking against the plate sounding louder than the chatter around us. It was a family dinner, laughter, clinking glasses, kids running around, the television humming softly in the other room, and yet in that second, the entire room narrowed into just the three of us, her, me, and the man whose hand she held under the table like it was the most natural thing in the world. You'd think in those moments you'd jump up, shout, make a scene. I didn't. I just froze. I looked at her half smile, at the way her lips pressed together to hide it, as if she were in on some private joke that excluded me. And I looked at him, my best friend, the man who used to sleep on my couch when life went bad for him, the one I vouched for when others would. His shoulders were stiff, but he didn't let go. He squeezed back. I swear I could see his thumb rubbing over her knuckles. That's the kind of betrayal that doesn't just cut deep. It rearranges everything you thought you knew about trust. I didn't breathe. I didn't blink. I just sat there, forcing myself to chew the piece of food in my mouth so nobody else would notice that I'd just stepped into a new reality. But here's the strange thing. Once you see something like that, you can't unsee it. It's like your brain starts replaying every little interaction, every offhand comment, every innocent look between them, that you shrugged off before. It all comes back with clarity so sharp it hurt. And suddenly you're not just sitting at one dinner, you're sitting at all of them, realizing you were the only one not clued into the game. I kept quiet. For the rest of that dinner, I laughed when everyone laughed, nodded when I was supposed to, even passed the salad bowl to her, as if nothing had happened. Inside, though, it was chaos. My thoughts twisted and unraveled like wires sparking against each other. And the question I couldn't shake was this: why now? Why here? With everyone around, would she risk something so bold? Later that night, when the dishes were stacked and the house quieted down, I sat in the living room in the dark. I didn't want to confront her, not yet. Confrontations are like fire. Once you light them, you can't control the burn. I needed to understand first, to gather, to plot. So I started watching. Little things. The way she held her phone closer when she texted. The way she smiled at messages that weren't from me. The way he stopped looking me in the eye when we talked, like he was carrying around a weight he couldn't set down. I played dumb, but I was wide awake. What I did next is something I don't tell many people, because it sounds obsessive, but you'd do it too if you were in my shoes. I set up a small camera, just one of those cheap little ones you can tuck behind books on a shelf. Not in the bedroom, not in some creepy way, but in the living room where she spent most evenings scrolling on her phone or catching up on shows. The first few nights nothing, just her sipping tea, scrolling, flipping channels. Then one night I caught it, her whispering into the phone, her lips curling into that same smile I saw at dinner. "I can't stop thinking about you," she said. Quiet, but the mic caught it. She didn't say his name, but she didn't have to. That was enough for me. Enough to confirm that what I saw wasn't some accident, some misread moment under the table. It was deliberate. It was real. But here's the thing I realized. Revenge, if you want it to last, isn't about explosions. It's about erosion. You don't drop a bomb. You let the ground crumble slowly under their feet, until they realized they were standing on nothing, the whole time. So I didn't confront her. Not yet. I started small, checking bank statements, watching her patterns, cross-referencing nights. She said she was at yoga with the GPS history on her phone, that synced to our shared account. Do you know how many lies unravel when you just look in the right places? Too many. And as I pieced it all together, a strange calm came over me. Because the truth is, once you accept betrayal, it stops hurting the same way. It becomes fuel. Every secret you uncover, every lie you expose, it's like loading bullets into a chamber, waiting for the right moment to fire. I kept telling myself, patience. Wait for the perfect time. Make it count. And that perfect time was coming sooner than they thought. Because there's something she and he didn't know about me. I don't just sit and stew. I plan. And when I strike, it's not loud, but it's fine. That night at dinner, when her hand slipped under the table, she thought she was holding on to her new future. What she didn't realize was that it was also the moment she signed her past away, and I was the only one at the table who knew it. That night after dinner, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, her steady breathing beside me like a cruel lullaby. Every inhale, every exhale sounded like a mockery of my ignorance, as if she were already comfortable enough in her double life to sleep peacefully, while I wrestled with the storm raging in my head. My fists clenched the sheets, until my knuckles ached. I knew now. The proof was sitting heavy in my mind like a stone lodged in my chest. But knowing wasn't enough. I needed more. Not because I doubted what I saw or what I recorded, but because I wanted to make sure when the walls came crashing down, there would be no way out for either of them. I became a ghost in my own home. I didn't ask questions, didn't accuse, didn't let my suspicion bleed into my voice. I smiled when I had to, nodded when expected, and played the role of the clueless husband perfectly. But beneath that mask, I was everywhere. I synced her phone's location data to my laptop, checked every statement that came in, even noted the changes in her routine, when she lingered in the shower, when she left the table to take a call, when her perfume smelled like it wasn't for me. The funny thing about betrayal is how sloppy it becomes. Once the guilty party starts believing they're invincible. A hand under a dinner table, a whispered call in the living room, a credit card charge at a hotel 20 miles away on the same night she claimed she was working late. They thought they were careful. They weren't. One evening, when she said she was heading to her yoga class, I followed. I didn't tail her car directly. That's a rookie mistake. I waited until she parked and walked into the studio, gym bag slung casually over her shoulder. Then I waited. 10 minutes later she walked out again, bag still on her shoulder, and slid into a car that wasn't hers. His car. My best friend's. My jaw locked so hard I thought my teeth would crack, but I didn't follow them. No, that would give too much away. Instead I wrote down the license plate of the hotel they eventually pulled into. I had all I needed. For weeks I collected piece after piece. I took screenshots, printed statements, recorded calls, saved GPS logs. My desk drawer became an arsenal of evidence. But it wasn't enough to simply catch them. I wanted them to feel it, the way I had felt it. I wanted them to squirm, to panic, to realize too late that they had built their little fantasy on quicksand. That's when I started laying the groundwork. I reached out to a lawyer friend under the pretense of asking for advice for a buddy going through divorce. I learned about fidelity clauses, about asset division, about how evidence could turn the tide in court. I updated my will. I moved certain accounts into my name only, carefully, without raising alarms. I shifted passwords, installed hidden cameras in new places, all while smiling at her across the table and asking how her day was. And then, just like life always does, an opportunity fell right into my lap. Her birthday was coming up. She wanted a dinner, something big, something with family and friends, something memorable. She deserved memorable, I thought. Just not in the way she imagined. I booked the venue she loved, arranged the guest list, even ordered the cake with her favorite frosting. I was attentive, thoughtful, the husband she probably bragged about to her girlfriends, while sneaking around behind my back. She had no idea she was helping me set the stage for her own unraveling. The night of the dinner, the air buzzed with warmth and laughter. Glasses clinked, music played softly in the background, and everyone gathered around to toast to her health, her happiness, her future. She looked stunning, radiant even in the dress I had bought her last year, and standing just a few feet away pretending to be nothing more than my lifelong buddy, was him. He avoided my gaze, but I smiled at him anyway. Wide, genuine, unsettling. He thought he had stolen something from me. He had no idea how wrong he was. After the cake was cut, after the songs were sung, I tapped my glass with my fork. The sound cut through the chatter, pulling all eyes to me. I stood, tall and calm, heart thundering beneath my chest, but face steady as stone. I just want to say a few words, I began, voice smooth. To my wife, on her special day. She blushed, smiling at me in that way people do when they're certain they're loved, certain they've fooled everyone. My best friend shifted uncomfortably in his seat. You've given me so many memories, I continued. And tonight, I want to give something back, something honest, because marriage after all is about honesty. A murmur ran through the room. She tilted her head slightly, confused but still smiling. I pulled an envelope from my jacket pocket. Thick, heavy, filled with the weight of months of sleepless nights and secret gathering. I thought long and hard about what to give you. Flowers die. Jewelry loses shine. But truth lasts forever. So here it is. I handed her the envelope. She took it with a laugh, assuming it was a card. Maybe tickets to a trip. She slid her finger under the flap, pulled out the contents, and her smile froze. Photo after photo spilled onto the table. Hotel receipts, GPS logs, screenshots of her whispered calls. A grainy but clear still frame of her kissing him in a parking lot. The room went silent. Forks paused mid-air, glasses lowered, conversation strangled in throats. She stared at the evidence, with wide, unblinking eyes. He paled, his jaw tightening as every eye turned toward him. "I loved you," I said softly, voice carrying across the table. "And this is what you gave me in return. Happy birthdays." The silence shattered into whispers, gasps, the scrape of chairs against the floor. She stammered, reaching out. "Wait, I can explain." But I wasn't done. "No," I cut in, my voice firm. "You've explained enough in every lie, every secret touch, every night you told me you were somewhere else. There's nothing left to explain." I turned to him then, the man who once called me brother. "And you sat at my table, drank my wine, smiled at me, all while sneaking under it to hold her hand. You think you've won? You've already lost, because I know who you are now, and so does everyone else." He opened his mouth, but no words came out. His wife, yes, his wife, sitting 2 seats down, was already standing, tears streaking her face as she threw her napkin at him and stormed out. The chaos that followed is hard to describe. Family trying to hush the whispers, her pleading, him chasing after his wife, people standing awkwardly not knowing whether to stay or leave. But I just sat back down, calm as ever, and poured myself a glass of wine. And in that moment, with the evidence scattered like confetti on the table, I realized something. Revenge isn't loud, it isn't violent, it's silent, precise, and irreversible. I didn't need to raise my voice. The truth was enough. Later, when she tried to beg, when she clutched at my arm and swore it was a mistake, I just looked at her with the same calm she had shown when she slipped her hand into his, beneath that dinner table weeks ago. "You made your choice," I said. "Now live with him." And I walked away, leaving her standing there, drowning in the ruins of the life she thought she controlled. Because the truth is, she never held his hand under the table that night. She held her own destruction, and I was patient enough to let her.